All right, everybody, come on in. Come on. I know we changed the time on you, but come on in. Great. I'm glad to see everybody joining. Thank you. Thank you. The smiling man down here is Joe Walsh. I'm Edwin Eisendrath. We've had this conversation for a while. I think you guys are enjoying it. We are. So thanks for joining us. Oh, Joe, what a
And
week.
Edwin, great to be with you again. Let me say two things at the onset. Everybody who's joining us, punch those red hearts when you can. Second thing, I love my weekly conversations with you. I consider you to be the kind of democratic brain the country needs. And everybody should know that we're probably going to continue these every week on Thursday afternoons from now on, aren't we?
Yep. Yep. I think so.
Awesome.
All right, everybody.
What do you
About
mean,
those.
what a week?
Yeah. What a week. About those hearts. Sorry about that. I have an Alexa here, and she thought I was talking to her. Um, about those hearts, everybody. Do me a favor. Press them if you love Chicago, because
No.
our city is in needs of the love. Our city really needs the love right now. Um, but Joe, I want to talk to you about Chicago and what's happening here. But I have another thing I want to talk to you about. And would you forgive me if I channel your old party for a second?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. When poor Joe was president and he said to Facebook, maybe you shouldn't tell people like to take ivermectin. It's probably not healthy. Your old party jumped all over it. They screamed about the censorship in America and how terrible it is. Well, for God's sake, the president said to Facebook, take down those groups that are telling people where ICE agents are in Chicago, and they took them all down. This is direct censorship of Americans, direct censorship of our social media platforms by these Republicans. They are completely guilty, completely guilty. And I know they had a fit about this when they made up about Biden and tried to blame it on us. This is total bullshit.
Agreed. Total bullshit, Edwin. And yet one more example, and it pains me to say this because I'm no longer a Republican. Just yet another example of how my former party abandoned everything I thought they believed in,
Yeah.
in obeyance to him.
Yep.
What you said Biden did during COVID, I don't want my government touching social media, but the important difference is the Biden administration, we were going through a once in a lifetime health crisis. The Biden administration encouraged social media platforms because of the health situation to do the right thing. They didn't force social media platforms to do anything.
Right. And that was thoroughly investigated.
Completely investigated.
Yep.
What Trump is doing is different here. They are dictating and forcing social media companies to do something, Edwin, that is legal. You and I have a right in this country to say, oh, ICE is at a certain neighborhood on Chicago's South Side. That's free speech. We have a right to do that.
Yeah. And they are censoring the press, and they're trying to censor us, which is, everything that they screamed to the heavens they didn't want, they were lying. They absolutely lying.
Edwin, here's another one that we learned thanks to the Wall Street Journal last night. When I was in Congress, part of the Tea Party movement, Barack Obama's IRS director, Lois Lerner, clearly targeted Tea Party groups for a little extra look. And we were all outraged, all of us on the right. Well, we find out from the Wall Street Journal last night that the Trump administration is reconfiguring the IRS to go after liberal groups and individuals on the left. And yet, Edwin, you won't hear a squeak out of any Republican.
You know what? And I don't care. What I really want to know, and this goes to your new party, is will we hear a roar out of Democrats? Will we stand up and say, this is unacceptable. It's un-American. You guys complained about it before. You were lying. We're telling you right now, it can't happen in America. Stop it. Stop it.
So I haven't heard a roar, but Edwin, it goes to this issue. My political strategist friend, how do you handle this? Every day, Democrats have 37 things to scream about. Do you prioritize? I don't know what the answer is.
Yeah, I don't either. I mean, as long as they're roaring, I'm happy. If they're quiet, I'm not happy. And there's like, yeah, there are 37 things to scream about every day. I mean, in Chicago,
Mhm.
what they're doing here. I mean, ProPublica had a story, Joe, about American citizens. They found 170 American citizens in prison, held in ICE captivity, not for crimes, but on for suspicion for not being American. And for 24 hours, they couldn't call their lawyer. They couldn't call their family. They weren't allowed to prove that they were American citizens. Held, and they have examples where they were kicked and dragged and otherwise abused in the United States, U.S. citizens, by this government.
It's not extreme to say, Edwin, that Trump and my former party are trying to create a police state.
No,
And I tend to believe, I don't know what you think, I tend to believe this is the most important issue. What Trump's masked federal agents are doing. I think the cruelty that we're seeing in the city of Chicago, the cruelty really that we've seen all over the country of citizens and immigrants getting snatched up off the streets, thrown into an unmarked van, never to be heard from again. I know the tariffs are making everything more expensive. I know his deportation policy is impacting industries when it comes to workers.
yep.
I know there are a lot of issues out there. But Edwin, I just don't believe the majority of Americans are cruel. And every day we're exposed to images of cruelty.
I'm thinking, I'm smiling because I think this goes back to the best instincts of the Tea Party movement back when.
Mhm.
I actually think that the reason why this is the thing you object to is this goes to the core of American freedom.
Thank you.
American freedom. You do not have it when, to also quote your old party, the jackbooted thugs are,
Yes.
are storming our houses and breaking down our doors, which they did to an American citizen. Right? This is not acceptable in any fashion, anywhere in the country, whether it's in, Waco, Texas, or Ruby Ridge, or the west side of Chicago, not acceptable.
So I've got to write the book, and I'm going to write the book from the Tea Party to the Democratic Party in 13 years. But Edwin, you and I are Tea Party brothers because what motivated me to be Tea Party was my utter fear of government tyranny,
Mhm.
of anything government would do to suppress my freedom. Um, it's like quaint right now. I can remember being a member of Congress when Barack Obama would grab his phone or his pen and he'd think about writing an executive order, and we would all go ballistic. Well, now this is Trump. He is literally the government tyrant that we all feared.
Yep.
And yet all my former Tea Party colleagues, Edwin, they are on the side of the tyrant.
They are. They have decided that for whatever reason, and I expect a lot of it is racism and a lot of it is hate, a lot of it is power, whatever it is, it's not American freedom. It's not our better angels. It's not why we had a civil war. It's not why we fought World War II. They're on the side of the tyrants. And um, look, this is why I love my city. ICE is increasing their provocations every day, right? And for no reason. They got this Palantir software. If they want to find a guy who's overstayed his visa and has committed a crime, they know where they can find him, right? Instead, they are attacking a whole city and arresting people and then trying to sort through to find one that they can say, "Ooh, I got a violent criminal." And we aren't taking the bait. I mean, we are pushing back. We are protecting each other. We are not being violent. They're shooting priests. We are still like we're not being violent. We're pushing back. They got this image this morning that was on the front page of the New York Times. They had video of fully armed camo ICE guys just throwing tear gas canisters at people in cutoffs and t-shirts who are taking pictures of them. It's crazy stuff. And I just think that when the country he hates this. So it just may be, we have to rename Chicago Waterloo because this is where the emperor's coming to die.
How it's so great. And by the way, I'm in DC. You're right there on the ground in Chicago, my
Yeah, it's
Chicago
terrible. Yeah,
friend.
yeah.
What is it? Is it constant every day you're bombarded by the news and the images right there? It's going on every day, right?
It's constant. It's every day. It's in multiple neighborhoods. It is aggressive. It is provocative. It's um, a use of force we don't allow our police to engage in. Uh, Today, they were ordered by a judge not to go unprovoked and attack journalists, and so they violated that. And
Yes.
they violated it right away. They got an order, they violated it. So today, the judge has now ordered ICE agents to wear body cams going forward.
And, and,
We'll,
and
we'll
and
see what
what
they do.
happens if they and if they don't? What happens?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Again, I don't know what power the judiciary has to when the president wants to ignore him.
Do you get a sense, Edwin, as to if there's a strategy with what they're doing, how long they would stay in Chicago and then they're going to do the same damn ugliness in another city? Or do
Mhm.
you think they're going to stay in Chicago for a prolonged period? Any sense?
I think it's like they're Vietnam. I think they're stuck, and they don't know what to do, and they're getting deeper and deeper. They send more troops, right? They go into other neighborhoods. They and they and we keep you know telling the truth, and they keep like, oh, they've arrested somebody because that person supposedly was aggressive with one of them, and then 800 Chicagoans have filmed it, right? And that's not what happened. What happened is the ICE guy raised his gun at a reporter. The reporter took a picture of it and got arrested. That kind of thing. It's they're stuck, and they're going to be in deep for a while until all of America says that it's not acceptable.
You said it really well a moment ago. Jack-booted thugs. Uh,
I wish they were
that's
only in jack boots. They got a lot more gear.
absolutely they do. And again, that's what I've always feared. That's why I've always been kind of a limited government guy. I fear the jackbooted thug.
Yeah.
Um, and because I was Tea Party and now I'm a Democrat, I'm always asked all the time, well, Joe, how come you're alone? What happened to all your other Tea Party conservatives? Why are they now applauding the jackbooted thugs? One big reason, Edwin, is revenge, retribution.
Yeah.
This is what I hear from them daily. They will fall back on, well, Joe, Trump's going after the enemy, so he's got to do shit like this. He's going after Chicago and the Democrats and CNN and the media. And so it's like payback that a lot of them have bought into, which has allowed them to abandon their principles.
Yeah. Well, their payback is a crime, just to start.
Yes.
But I also want to say, like, I remember walking amongst some Tea Party rallies way back in the day. Um, I don't think all of your former Tea Party guys have abandoned this idea. I think the ones who were elected have abandoned it
Yes.
for the
Yes.
power. But I think people who fought because they were afraid of what government could do hate what they see.
Well, it's interesting, Edwin, and we'll see it again on Saturday at the No Kings rally. I spoke at a bunch at the last one. I've been out there every week with protest. Yep. I've told people that it's really reminiscent of what the Tea Party did 14 years ago. We were out there protesting, holding up our constitutions, going after a big tyrannical government, the rule of law. We're now seeing the same thing being said by all of us in the resistance. It's really fascinating. It's come full circle.
Yeah. I mean, I thought at the time that the tyrannical thing you should be going after were the big banks, because they're the ones who cost everybody their homes, not the government. Government didn't regulate them enough or misregulated them. But these big powers that have power over our lives, whether they are corporate power or government power, need to be checked appropriately, and they are not right now. In fact, they're in league together right now. That's why it's a dangerous time.
Right, and I'd remind everybody the thing that brought the Tea Party to its birth was the big bailouts, where the government bailed out, as they always do, the big corporations, and average people took it on the chin. Yep. That's always the case. So the Tea Party was a very populist movement. I still believe the Democratic Party is beginning to go through their version of their own Tea Party, a populist movement for the good.
Yeah. Well, we got to put people first over all these big powers.
Yes.
Always. And when we do, there's a great experiment, and it's not in it's we two states you'll like this that were very similar, Minnesota and Wisconsin. They had very similar economies, farming and city, about the same ratio of rural to urban, and they were economically and by all kinds of measures sort of the same. Then Scott Walker and his gang took over in Wisconsin. 10 years later, there's more private investment in Minnesota. There's more better public school outcomes. There are better health outcomes. What Scott Walker did not lead to better lives for anybody. Just that it's a clear example of this governing problem. And some of it's policy, but some of it's just who are you working for? Are you working for the people who put you there? Or are you working for the guys who make the maps and spend the money?
I can't wait to get back to the day when you and I, because here's like everybody
Yes,
thinks
we
you
can
and I,
argue about policy. No
no,
question.
everybody just because I get these messages, oh, you and Edwin are great together. You guys are like brothers. You are
Yeah.
best friends. We are, but we disagree probably on, I'll say, most public policy, certainly half of all public policy, maybe. But
Maybe. Yeah.
but you and I could sit down and respectfully argue and talk about any of this stuff. And I wish we could one day.
You know what? Like Thomas, not that either of us fits these categories, but Thomas Jefferson, and John Adams
Yeah.
disagreed about most things, but they worked
Yes.
together to create something that allowed that disagreement to happen in America.
Agreed. And
Again,
that's
not that either of us is, up there, but
well, and you put me on the Jeffersonian side, but totally agree. But
by the way, my least favorite founder.
see, oh my God, see, Edwin, we have to make this a special Substack Live. He's my favorite founder, and my mom and I, rest her soul,
Yep.
would argue like cats and dogs because she, like you, couldn't stand Jefferson. She loved John Adams.
Yeah, I don't really. He's not really Washington's my favorite of the bunch.
Oh, wow.
In part because, he wasn't as smart as half of the people around him, and it didn't bother him. He said, I'm getting the most brilliant people I can. And by virtue of character, I'm going to get them to work for the good of America.
Give me just concisely, because some people are demanding that we do this special live, and we will. But
Okay.
just give me what, entice me. Give me one little beef you've got against Jefferson.
Jefferson reminds me of a certain strand of Chicago liberal who says a lot of good things, but really that's not his life. It's just he's like the hypocritical liberal who spouts all of this fancy stuff, but is really having some poor kid from the West Side come to his fancy apartment, his fancy art to maybe show him off to his neighbors. It's just that's how he reminds me of, that kind of hypocrite.
Then we have to have this conversation. I'll just say this. You're going to be out on No King's Day. I'm going to be out on No King's Day. Jefferson gave us the Declaration of Independence, and you could wrap that document up into 2 words: no kings.
I totally agree with that. I don't want to take away his accomplishments. I even went to Monticello this year for the first time.
Did you really?
Mm-hmm. Never been. But what? I'll take my guy Abe Lincoln over him any day. That's where we are.
Oh my God, I love it. That's a great conversation. But again, everybody, make sure everybody listen to us. Subscribe to both Walsh and Eisendrath, but also make sure you've already identified a location near you to go out and do the No Kings thing on Saturday. And Edwin, the last thing I'm going to say is I don't give a damn where you stand on Gaza, Israel, any other issue. Saturday is all about defeating fascism and defending democracy. That's what unites us.
Yep. I couldn't say it better. So I won't try. Be out there. And being out there, by the way, does not make you, what did Johnson say? A lover of Hamas, an Antifa member who hates America. Quite the contrary. Go out there and show them this is a democracy that will not die.
Amen.
Will not die. All right, Joe. Thank you, as always. Look forward to
Thank you, my friend. Thanks, everybody.
Bye. Bye.